I would like to present the first speaker of tonight. The first speaker is Julian Liniger. Julian is the founder and CEO of Relai. Relai is a super simple Bitcoin investing app, if I'm not wrong. And he's also one of the co-founders of the Certified Crypto Finance Expert training program, where he teaches numerous people basically everything that you're going to learn tonight. So there's no one better to start the evening. Join me in welcoming Julian. Julian, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thanks. Hello, everyone. Wow, what a crowd. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for the invitation. You basically already said everything about me that is important for you to know. Maybe one addition is I'm not only working for these two companies, I'm also working for Bitcoin in my heart. Obviously, you know that Bitcoin is not a company itself, so there's no CEO, there's no one who could hire me or employ me. But since 2015, I basically breathe and sweat Bitcoin, and I don't think about anything else. And I'm working for Bitcoin and crypto finance since 2017. So even though I'm only 29 years old, I already kind of spent 5 to 7 years almost full-time on this topic. And both of these companies, CCFE and Relai, also have a booth out there. So if you want to learn more, please meet the team there. Bitcoin doesn't have a booth yet, maybe next year. Huh? And my goal today of these 15 minutes is I want you to understand Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrencies. This is obviously a huge goal, and some of you already achieved this goal, and probably I won't make it in these 10 to 15 minutes that all of you understand it. But it's also about like on which level do you actually need to understand this? Who understands how a car works? Everyone basically drives a car somewhere to work or whatever without really understanding in deep details how the engines work. All of you guys are using a smartphone. I don't have any idea how a smartphone works. So it's important to understand enough so that you, on your level, can deal with it, because there's a lot of complexity. You don't need to understand everything about it. It's enough if you understand a couple of % of it. So let me ask you guys, who of you understands Bitcoin? Who of you thinks you understand Bitcoin? Quite a few, maybe a third. Who of you own Bitcoin? Who owns Bitcoin? Wow, almost everyone. And that's usually what we see. Like people try to rush into it. They try to, there's some FOMO going on. There's some hype going on. Wow, my neighbor just got rich off Bitcoin. I need to buy some, right? Without really understanding it. And then you maybe also invest in a couple of altcoins, and there's this new ICO, I want to invest there as well, I want to be part of this as well, and then something crashes, and then the next market cycle comes, and then you don't really know what to do. So it really pays off to take a step back and evaluate and reflect and understand in a little bit more detail so you can distinguish what is really adding value and what is really a long-term a thing that we need in this world, and what is just pure hype. And you should be able, if you as like a banker or investor are able to distinguish this is the most important skill and the only skill you really need to navigate this space, which is, as said, very, very complex. That's kind of what we want to achieve today. Satoshi Nakamoto was not really good. Satoshi Nakamoto is and was the founder of Bitcoin. He wasn't really good in explaining it at all. He actually didn't want to explain it. He said, if you don't get it, I don't have the time to convince you, look. So he founded, he or she, or the group that Satoshi Nakamoto represents, because until now, nobody knows who it actually is. The address of Satoshi Nakamoto still controls over 1 million Bitcoins. I leave the calculation how much this is worth in terms of dollars up to you. It would be one of the richest people in the world if we knew who it is. But no one knows who it is. 2009, after financial crisis, he released the white paper that has been developed into the Bitcoin software. But what a lot of people don't know, and what I want you to know, is that what he founded was not just out of thin air, some interesting idea that randomly got created. A digital, global, decentralized, independent form of money has been tried out for decades. Like, probably this idea is as old as the internet. And it started with projects like DigiGold, Hashcash, e-money, even PayPal tried to create this form of digital money that is independent, and it's an own internet-native currency that works without institutions, without Visa, MasterCard, banks, and governments being intermediaries. But all of them failed. Why did they fail? Because all of them tried to solve this internet money problem with a central institution, which is central point of failure. And what Satoshi Nakamoto did was he took different pieces of technology, like cryptography, blockchain, mathematics, and he put them together in a system that works trustlessly, without any central institution, and therefore without any intermediaries. Nothing can stop that. It's like the internet. It's an open source global software that no one basically controls, and also no one can stop. And what he did create, or the problem he solved, was a double spending problem, meaning that, and that's very important for digital money, where he, with this trustless and decentralized system, it's now easy to send money from A to B. So if I were to send Bitcoin to Demelza, for example, who will be on the stage later, in the old system, I would send a copy. So like if I send a photo, I send a copy, I still have the copy, she now has a copy, and that's the double spending problem that we don't want with money. And he solved this fundamental problem and made a digital store of value and a digital money possible, which is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, a lot of people say, is as influential or even more influential than the emergence of the internet. Why? Because the internet itself is a network of information. It makes information sharing easy across the globe, digital, decentralized, open source. And that's exactly what Bitcoin does for money. So that's why a lot of people call it the internet of money. And that's the source of it is solving the problem of double spending. But what it can do, and what Mark Andreessen, one of the most influential venture capitalists, Silicon Valley-based VC, that basically founded the internet with all of his companies. He says that's even as influential as the internet. He also says software eats the world. And so Bitcoin is the software that is eating the financial world. By the way, he just raised and launched an over 1 billion fund that is only investing in Bitcoin and crypto-related companies. So that's kind of the relevance of it. Now, what is Bitcoin exactly? Let's try to break it down to a very simple definition, which is Bitcoin is a virtual currency. It's like the currencies we know, Euro or USD or Swiss franc, but it's virtual. It only exists on this digital, decentralized, and global financial system, which is also called Bitcoin, which is funny, right? So Bitcoin with a small b is the currency, and Bitcoin with a capital B is the system, the financial system that is used to transfer the currency. So what's cool about the Bitcoin, the currency, is that it's independent of banks and governments. So no one can just print it, no one can censor it. And it's digital on this digital, decentralized global financial system, so no one could stop it, and we can send money from A to B within seconds, 24/7, to any country in the world, as long as there's access to this system. So that's the absolute amazing thing about it. So if you want a metaphor for that, let's take PayPal. PayPal has tried to create this currency, but they failed. So what they did is they just took US dollar, euro, all the national fiat currencies that they have, and they put a financial system on the bottom of it. So PayPal is a financial system that transfers currencies, but they don't have their own currency now, and they are centralized. Bitcoin is the same, but they have their own currency, their own financial system that transfer the currency, and this is decentralized. So no one can stop it again. Blockchain is the ledger that is powering Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies through basically recording and storing and processing all the transactions that are happening on these decentralized networks. So it's a network of miners and nodes and users that are powering this system. Whatever runs on top of it, transferring the value, is run by this system. So again, if I were to send money to Demelsa, I would broadcast the transaction to this network, and not like a bank, where the bank just says, okay, I have this money, Demelsa has an account, I can send her the $100, and they process it. It's one single entity that processes it. Here, it's the blockchain. I broadcast it to the whole network. The whole network checks and processes and verifies this transaction. That's basically all you need to know. It's not that hard. So let's see what happened. Everyone basically knows about what happened in 2016, 17, I hope you might remember, where this as a basis already existed. Like Bitcoin exists since 2009, everyone kind of knows about, okay, there's Bitcoin, there's internet currency, there's blockchain. But then much more emerged around it, about it around 2017. So here it's still very quiet. We're like in the mid of 2015. There are a couple of cryptocurrencies. These are some ICOs that you see here. Ethereum, the now second biggest cryptocurrency, is so small. They did an ICO of 19 million. This is something that Andreessen Horowitz probably wouldn't even look at it today. And down there you see the different regions of the world. So it was already a global phenomenon, but on a very low scale. And on top, on the left, you see there's some 300 million raised so far, beginning of 2017. Already quite a big one, the Dow, which was hacked later on, but they raised 168 million. And there you go. There's some bigger ones around the world in different countries. These are ICOs, so initial coin offerings. They just basically create a coin on their own blockchain or a token on an existing blockchain, and they create a currency that can do something, and they sell it. And that's then what happened. This huge hype. EOS, for example, raised more than 4 billion. Telegram raised almost 2 billion in funds just by issuing and selling their own cryptocurrency. So you might think now, wow, this is very much overhyped. Today, what do you think, how many cryptocurrencies there are? Who thinks there are less than 1,000? Less than 5,000? Less than 10,000? Okay. Less than 12,000? More than 12,000? You're actually right. There are around 15,000 of them. 15,000 different cryptocurrencies. And every year there are new trends emerging. Like, for example, as we said, ICOs, right? So first there were Bitcoin. Then there were some altcoins, other cryptocurrencies. Now there are ICOs, so basically everyone can just issue and sell a token with some value of it, some utility of it. And then what was next? There was DeFi, so decentralized finance, where basically the whole banking system should be revolutionized and built on blockchains, so lending and borrowing and exchange of stocks and everything should be on the blockchain. Tokenization. Every Picasso, every car, every real estate will be on the blockchain, decentralized, on a decentralized ledger, tokenized. NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So basically the same. Like every influencer can take a picture of him and make an NFT out of it, so make it scarce, tradable on a blockchain and sell it to their communities. That's how pictures of apes get sold for 60 million nowadays. Totally crazy, but this is what's happening. Metaverse, everything in the metaverse will be on the blockchain. Web3, so the whole internet will be redesigned and put on the blockchain. These are the buzzwords that you hear, and for people like you who should understand this, but are not like 100% like every day in this market, in this ecosystem, I want you to know one thing. It's okay to not understand all of it. What you should find are the signal. You should differentiate the signals from the noise, and then take a step back. Don't rush into every new opportunity. Step back, take the right advice, make the right research, and then if you're able to focus on the right thing, you will be like the guys who invested in Amazon at the very beginning of the internet bubble. Don't be the guys who rush into every opportunity, because then in the end you will end up like the guys who invested in MySpace, beginning of the internet bubble. That was it from me. Thank you very much.